RetroDaze.
With the ho-ho-ho happiness of holiday warmth behind us, with the packing away of colorful lights and the dismantling of the Christmas trees, our eyes turn ever forward to the bleak winter ahead. Gone are the cookies, cakes, antipasto, and turkey dinners. In place of the holiday greeting cards, credit card bills arrive. And we are prepared.
We are prepared because earlier this month, you and I erected a retro entertainment fortress to defend against the biting wind. In surviving the long cold winter, we built towers of movies, walls of food, rooms of retro games, and even moats of hot chocolate. Yet, as I look around our castle, I realize further fortification is necessary, for the wind is cold and the wolves are howling at the gate. Just as our defenses need fortification, so too do our bodies. So this time we're starting with a hot beverage. And boy, do we have a doozy. In the 1960s, Dr. Pepper promoted a new way to drink their soda during the frosty winter months.
Hi, I'm Dick Clark. You know, when the weather is sunny and hot, you and I really go for a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper, the soft drink that goes so well with hot weather. Deliciously different. When the weather's hot, Dr. Pepper tastes great cold. And when the weather's cold, that's when Dr. Pepper tastes a great hot. Hi, Max. Good friends, a roaring fire. The perfect time for hot Dr. Pepper. Delicious and so easy to prepare. Just heat Dr. Pepper in a saucepan till it steams, then pour over a thin slice of lemon. That's a hot idea. Yes, Dr. Pepper is delicious cold or hot. Try hot Dr. Pepper. It's a great winter treat. Right, Max? Hot
idea. According to drpeppermuseum.com, it all began in September of 1958 when Wesby R. Parker, president of Dr. Pepper Company, had an idea to create a warm and comforting version of Dr. Pepper. While visiting a bottling plant during a blizzard, one of the route salesmen joked that they needed a hot drink to sell during winter weather. This sparked an idea in Parker and he began to experiment in his kitchen. Just heat until steaming, no more than 180 degrees to prevent scorching, and pour over a lemon slice. Some advertisements suggested turning the drink into a boomer by adding a shot of rum.
I'm not hungry.
Hot Dr. Pepper, your favorite.
Americans tried the new drink and loved it, at least for a little while. While the hot beverage did catch on, it was mostly in the southern United States, where in some towns it remained a tradition. In the rest of the country, the trend faded away sometime in the 1970s. Whether or not you have yet to try this strange way of drinking soda, the frigid winter seems like a perfect opportunity to revisit a classic. Just don't forget the rum. While sipping our hot beverages, we can flip through an old casserole cookbook from ShopRite circa 1956. This may be before your time, but there's something so familiar about it. Probably because these kinds of cookbook pamphlets were always sitting around your parents' and grandparents' houses. Oh yes, our old friend Anamoya, nostalgia for a time in which you did not live. It's like how The Wonder Years, a television show that aired when we were kids but took place in the 60s and 70s, helped to create a strange nostalgia for a generation we only experienced vicariously. The same can be said about these old cookbooks. Flipping through the worn pages, there are an alarming number of dishes you'd never dare eat. Beef and kidney pie, sweetbreads and dried beef, tongue and greens, smothered liver with onions, deviled ham custard, what the actual ham custard? Good Lord. This cookbook thing was probably a bad idea, but a few abominations do sound interesting. Things like pizza beef pie or chicken pie deluxe, the golden fluff variation, of course. Still, we have to acknowledge that reading the old book was never about actually cooking any of the dishes. It was about the experience of perusing recipes from an era gone by, feeling the worn and crumbling pages between our fingers, and looking for jotted notes in pencil your grandparents may have left behind, like secret messages from beyond the grave. We still need some edible snacks though, and for that you skip ahead to cookbook pamphlets from the 80s and 90s. These are of the Betty Crocker and Pillsbury variety. The ones that lined checkout aisles much as they still do today. The ones that always recommend their own company's prepackaged foods as part of the recipe ingredients. We recognize the grift, but we just don't care. After all, nothing is quite as nostalgic as good old Pigs in a Blanket made with Pillsbury biscuits, pot pie made with Bisquick, and Chex Party Mix made with, well, you know. With our bellies full, we turn back to a landscape of entertainment. During the construction of our winter fortress, defenses focused disproportionately on movies. So this time around, to develop strength through diversification, we'll pick through a variety of television shows in search of episodes featuring freezing weather and winter storms. Surprisingly, the first series to emerge is Are You Afraid of the Dark? The pilot aired on Nickelodeon as a Halloween special in 1991, a full year after its first airing on Canadian television network YTV. It took another year for the full first season to premiere and then ran through 1996 on both Nickelodeon and YTV for a total of 5 seasons, not counting the revivals in 1999 and 2019. It's easy to dismiss the show as something better suited for autumn and Halloween, but upon thinking it over, we remember at least one episode that could work, The Tale of the Frozen Ghost, featuring guest star Melissa Joan Hart.
The Tale of the Frozen Ghost, featuring Melissa Joan Hart as a babysitter who joins a young boy in uncovering a spooky secret.
Another old favorite is Married with Children, which premiered on April 5th, 1987, and ran for a solid decade. It was considered the first raunchy show to air on network television and was even boycotted for a brief time. We explore the series and find a few episodes that fit the bill. It Doesn't Get Any Better Than This, My Dinner with Anthrax, and Spring Break Parts 1 and 2. Don't worry, there's a blizzard. Another classic Fox television show, The Simpsons, has an episode from Season 2 in which there's a snow day that Bart is unable to enjoy. Bart Gets an F is the first episode of that season, and one that fits well within our winter theme. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's 13th episode of Season 5, Three's a Crowd, finds Carlton and Will going on a bros-only ski trip where they get stranded on a mountain cliff. Sounds like an absurd sitcom formula, perfect for our cold winter viewing. The same can be said for Season 1's 6th episode of Hey Arnold, Heat/Snow. In the first segment, Heat, Arnold wakes to a scorching heat wave, perhaps helping to warm us up during this frigid time of year. The second segment, Snow, finds Arnold again waking from sleep, only this time to find the city covered in snow. School is canceled, but before Arnold can escape into the winter wonderland for some snowball fights and sledding, Grandpa enlists him to shovel the sidewalk. Having chosen thematically appropriate episodes so far, it must be said that there's no reason we have to adhere to arbitrary rules. Any shows you like to watch during winter are surefire winners. Pack in episodes of The Adventures of Pete and Pete, Newhart, The Real Ghostbusters, Alf, or whatever warms you up inside. After plowing through a number of episodes while enjoying a steaming bowl of wonton soup from the local Chinese restaurant, we decide to end the day with a few magazines. There's something about the winter months that are perfect for reading. Maybe it's the cliche image of someone sitting fireside with a glass of bourbon and an enjoyable book while a storm rages outside. Magazines and comics were always perfect distractions on those cold days when you were tired of freezing your mitts off in snowball fights and there weren't any good shows on TV. Nintendo Power would likely have been my first pick on a January evening, flipping through an issue in search of tips and tricks for the new NES game I got for Christmas. Nintendo Power was actually the follow-up to a free newsletter called Nintendo Fun Club News. There were only 7 issues of the newsletter before it was discontinued and replaced with Nintendo Power in 1988, founded by Nintendo of America marketing manager Gail Tilden. That first issue was also given away for free to all members of the Nintendo fan club. When you subscribed to Nintendo Power, you weren't just subscribing to a magazine, you were joining a club. Every issue even included inserts exclaiming, "Join the club!" Depending on the year, they offered a number of extras with the subscription, with gifts like Power Challenge trading cards, Power certificates, and coupons. Not to mention, each issue had maps, giveaways, surveys, and fold-out posters in addition to the regular articles. All this made us feel like we were part of something bigger, which of course was brilliant marketing. Highlights magazine, on the other hand, was better for our younger years. Heck, it even says, "for children" as part of the title. Though it's easy to grow out of Highlights magazine, there were tons of classic segments that stick with me to this day, like Goofus and Gallant, Hidden Pictures, and the Timber Toes. If you were a little older, you might have had stacks of the many pervasive teen magazines like Bop, Teen Beat, 16, Metal Edge, and Tiger Beat. Horror fans had Fangoria, Creepy, Gore Zone, Eerie, and Famous Monsters of Filmland. Gamers had Nintendo Power, Video Games and Computer Entertainment, Sega Visions, and EGM. Comic collectors had Wizard, and there's still Mad, Cracked, Heavy Metal, and, well, listing every magazine that was available is folly, which means, yep, I'm jotting this down as a standalone topic for a future video. Suffice to say, whatever your hobbies and interests, there were no doubt a plethora of magazine options waiting on store shelves and comic book racks.
Perhaps you're noticing a distinct theme of laziness with these winter-themed activities. Well, to that I say, hell yes! I just spent a solid month baking, cooking, wrapping presents, and hosting holiday parties. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for some downtime. Besides, our fortress is solid and ready to withstand even the worst blizzards. And with these helpful rituals in place, the long, cold winter won't feel quite so long or cold. Which of these activities do you use to chase away the winter blues? I would love to hear about it down in the comments. And if you enjoy our content, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and maybe even activating that ubiquitous notification bell. It really does make a huge difference. Let's meet again next week to celebrate yesteryear right here on RetroDaze.
Clicky clicky.